incredibly fighting player, this guy. Never gives up, never resigns. Now the king. We keep our rooks on white squares, avoid any accidents. And he resigns. So 10 minutes left on the clock in a 15-minute game. 53 moves played, and Dihar has 10 minutes left. And he resigns. He lost an exchange after 20 moves. Really, I don't know. He's beaten us on time a lot of games, forced us to make mistakes in a lot of games. But this is the price that you pay. Sometimes you're going to make a gross oversight. But Dihar just missed my trick. He tried to play f4 to take away the e5 square from my knight, which was a good idea, but unfortunately I had bishop takes c3, and his bishop was overloaded trying to protect e3 and the knight on c3, so he missed a simple tactic, and the position was just too clear for him to draw up any really serious complications. I think he did about the best he could. So everybody, welcome to the stream. We have 15-minute chess on tap, and want to remind you about my new YouTube channel, Video Chess Training. We posted a new video about a game from the Tata tournament. It's so weird to say that, Tata. This tournament has had so many different sponsors, so many different names over the years. It was Weekend Z, then it was Chorus, now it's Tata. But I don't know how long the tournament will keep going. They're laying off a lot of workers at the steel company. I don't know. Hopefully it continues in the future. I saw in the news recently that Tata Steel was laying off a lot of workers, so hopefully they can continue to sponsor the chess event. It was a great game. I got to analyze for my video on YouTube. Carlsen, really interesting game against Luc Van Wely from an early round in the event. And let me jump in the 15-minute pool here. If we have to wait too long, we'll do 5-minute chess. I'm also going to put myself into the pool for 25-minute chess. Would like to start playing on some other sites on the stream. So we're thinking about maybe chess.com, although I'm not as fond of playing on a web browser interface. Somehow it doesn't seem as good. Okay, Cool Defender 1717. Playing an amorphous kind of old Indian setup. Alright, I started this out as in English. We don't have to commit to d4. I like this. Now what Black has done here is to play into my patented anti-Slav system with the tempo less. So he's managed, I don't think anyone's ever done this before, Black has managed to play into the main line of the anti-semi-Slav with the tempo down. We had this a few days ago against a guy who, he did one of the kind of standard things, he transposed to a Stonewall Dutch. But I'm not going to play, but that was a little different. I hadn't played e3 yet. He played a pure pawn triangle in that game. My friend Jesse Cry also plays this, international master from the US, and we were analyzing this years ago. But thinking of strong players who play this for white, lots of strong positional players have played this kind of anti-semi-Slav system. Just a few that come to mind are like the Russian Grandmaster Konstantin Lerner, the Cuban Grandmaster Jesus Nagiras, who's very strong. Actually, I played him the other day on the internet here, and I was really lucky to win. He was beating me out of the opening. It was a Tarash. He played a weird variation of the Tarash, which I've always had trouble against. Okay, so Semi-Slav, yeah, we studied this with Jesse Cry a long time ago. Jesse liked to play g4 type of ideas. And I think it's a pretty reasonable approach here. Let's go for it. I mean, this normally it's sort of how to say risky. I think once Jesse played it against Arena Crush in the U.S. Championship when I was there, and that was where Black didn't have a tempo down. But anyway, I mean, G4 is a dynamic idea against the normal semi-Slav with Queen C2. But when Black's a tempo down, first of all, it makes this a lot more dangerous. And Black didn't try to do anything. The second thing is that the bishop is better placed at D6 in general. For you guys that are watching, if you play the semi-Slav, it's almost always better to put the bishop on D6 than it is on E7. And that goes for playing the Kali system with white. So here, Black doesn't have any counterplay. I mean, if his bishop was on D6, he could think about taking a second pawn on H2. Black just doesn't have any kind of counterplay. King F8 now. I mean, the best he's going to achieve is like trading rooks with Rook G8 in this kind of position. He's left simply in a position where I can castle queenside and exploit the position of his king. So a much safer king. He could try some A5, B5 type of idea. It's not going to be that easy to get in A5, B5, or A4. For Black, notice the long diagonal. How dangerous that looks for Black here. Thinking about Rook G3, but I don't think it does anything. I mean, it just kind of lets him play Bishop D6, which I think would help. I could put the Rook on G2. I think I'm going to just trade on G8 if he opposes my Rook. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference whether I put it on G1 or G2. I don't really want my bishop on G2. You know, I don't want to like fight for the G file for the sake of having a bishop on G2. Okay, now B6. And I think this is where we really try to smash this guy as quickly as possible. One idea is a knight transfer with knight E2, knight F4, knight H5. But I have to be a little careful here that this is realistic. I'm not neglecting my development, for one thing. But I think I could castle queenside. This was kind of the original plan, to castle queenside. I still think it's fine. I'm just wondering if I really should try to direct something a little more direct against it. I think we can do this. You know, I think this is sound. Though, you know, everything hinges on the long diagonal. If he could play like 94 and get in, and they're interfering with my plans, I wouldn't really trust this attack. But now we have threats of knight G5. Now rook there. I still think knight G5 is strong. Looks kind of cheap playing knight G5, but it's a very, very serious threat. However, you know, perhaps he's some kind of defenses. Trading rooks is fine too. Trading rooks. I could trade rooks and just simply develop with bishop E2. Prepare to castle long. But knight G5 threatens knight takes E6 check. But my rook's going to be hanging at the end, so I'm going to play it safe here. Rook takes rook. I didn't see anything really convincing there. Knight E6 not a big deal now. Also, I'm a little bit concerned that he might have bishop F4. I don't think it should be a big deal. Bishop D3 or bishop E2. I'm going to castle queenside. If he plays bishop D6 there, I was mostly worried about that. I'm going to castle queenside. He's trying to open up the C file, but realistically, you know, he can't force the C file open. b5 now, very slow move, check, and king f8 is forced. And now it looks like we have a strong attack with knight d4, knight g5. Yeah. So knight g5. You can see his counterplay is very slow here. We're threatening knight takes h7 check, and knight takes e6 check. So I think the opening was a bad choice by black. Welcome everybody to the stream. Now knight takes h7 check, king e8. I don't see any forced mates in this position, so I think we'll go for the queen, winning the queen. Knight takes e6 check. He doesn't have any serious compensation. We win the queen for 2 knights, basically. So he resigned. Alright. Well, that was kind of a miniature. It was instructive. A dangerous line already for white, but a tempo down. Basically, I think too dangerous for him to take the g4 pawn, as he did in the game. With the bishop on e7, there's not really much counterplay. You know, in the main lines of the semi-Slav where black plays against white's queen c2 variation, in the lines of the g4 pawn sacrifice that were very popular in the 90s. In those lines, black puts the bishop on d6, and he can grab sometimes pawns on h2. Okay, we've got 1999 from India. Alright. Most of the Indian players tend to be very strong that I've played against here. Serious players. Chess is extremely popular in India. d4, knight f6. I play knight f6 90% of the time against d4. Definitely against a player I don't know much about. Occasionally I play g6 or some other move. e6 is my solid move. I also play the King's Indian. Okay, and then here I play a couple different things. One is the Bogo, and also I play the Queen's Indian. I'm going to go for a Blumenfeld, but it's obviously not forced for white to play d5. That's what I was afraid of. This kind of takes the fun out of life. Yeah. Now we have to play a semi-Slav. Not semi-Slav, semi-Tarash, excuse me. Welcome to the chess stream. Sladgy here. We're playing live chess, 15-minute, and we won 2 games. So it's been a good stream so far. This move really boring. Oh man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. We'll just play like Rubinstein. So classic semi-Tarash. Not a normal part of my repertoire. I think that normally what I do here is play, I guess what I'll do is play the Panov, because the Panov is part of my repertoire, although, yeah. I'll have to play the Panov with black. It's a Caro-Kann. He took with a knight, though. That's not really normal. Not theory. I mean, you know, I guess it's theory, technically, but white has to play e takes d there, and play the isolated queen pawn position if he wants to try to get an edge. The text move, I don't think that it's bad, like white is worse, but it's very innocuous. And I guess black could play e5 here, but it's extremely ambitious. I don't think it's really justified. So most likely the position will turn into now not bishop b4 because of queen a4 check. That's what I would have played if white had played e takes d4, kind of active Panov with the Nimzo transposition bishop b4. Here I'm just trying to think what the best move is. White plays knight c6. Any move is playable for black here, except for bishop b4, I guess. Bishop b4, queen a4 check, knight c6, knight takes c6, bishop takes c3 check, pawn takes c.